Welcome to my channel, Redeeming Thunder. My name is Erica, and I'm here to give you a fabulous prophetic word. Today, I have received an epiphany. Okay, today brings clarity to your ministry. This word was given to me through a dream that I had on 12/20/2023, and we fast forward 2.5 years later to present day is when I finally received the epiphany. And what's so astounding is it is appointed times to understand what your ministry is. It is appointed times to receive that epiphany. Why? Because there's magical moments occurring in your life now. Because you're at the right place at the right time to receive that revelation. Do you understand that you won't be able to receive the revelations and you won't be able to understand them until you walk through the doors and are in the right place at the right time? This is chapter 40, part 3, New Beginnings Crowned series. And this is in regards to discovering your ministry. And this revelation was given to me through understanding that I'm living and that you are living the actual dream. That's how you know that you're in the appointed times. Okay? So let me explain the dream first, and then I'm going to jump into the prophetic word. In the dream, I was needing a second car. But in real life, I needed a second car. Okay? So in the dream, I heard Abba say, it's time to get that second car. A vehicle in itself means journey of life. That's the interpretation. Your ministry or journey of life. So you're receiving a second ministry to work on, and you're still on your journey of life. Okay? In the dream, I recall Yahuwah telling me in the past that a second car is given to us in the future. And that's in a Rema word that I received that. Now I'm living the dream, receiving that same message. In my dream, I went to a car dealership and my mom was with me. She was standing on my right side. So as we arrived to the dealership, who came to greet us was an individual that represents someone in your real life. Okay? In the dream, it was Joseph Z. And this is, I have had 2 dreams with him in it. But in your real life, this is how I realized that it all tied together. How I understood. And it had a lot to do with someone in your real life is going to come and be this person for you that represents this person in the dream. Okay? So listening on. So Joseph Z has a ministry. He is a prophetic voice, okay, in real life. But in this dream, he was a mechanic, okay? And he had a suit on, a navy blue suit, and it looked crisp, clean, and sharp. And he was very happy to see us. Almost like if he was expecting me to arrive. Like he already knew I was coming. Saying, I have just the vehicle for you. Come around this way. It's already ready for you to drive. So I'm a little confused because right when you drive up to a dealership, there's a bunch of vehicles displayed there, if you noticed. Okay? So when he wants to take us around the corner, I'm thinking, shouldn't he just show us these ones that are right here in front of us? And so he takes me around the corner, and suddenly it looks like an open space, as if he took me to a huge garage with larger vehicles, and the ceiling was very, very high. Almost like if it was a garage to store airplanes. That's how high it was. Suddenly something is placed right in front of me. It looks as if it was planted right in front of me from the sky, within the garage. It was as if it was getting lowered, like it was dangling in the air, okay, and it was getting lowered quite literally right in front of me as I was walking towards it. So I stop walking, and now it's a few feet in front of me. It looks like some kind of mechanical device. Okay, I'm getting a zoomed in view of it, not a zoomed out view. So it looks like some kind of mechanical device from just, you know, face view. Okay, just in front. I only have like a little window of view at that moment, and the color was navy blue and a little bit of yellow. I see some other vehicles parked a ways away within the garage, and I can see the outside of the garage because the garage was opened, and I could tell that there was a blue sky with some clouds because the huge garage door is open. Immediately I'm thinking, what in the world? What kind of car is this? It looks like a metal frame, and it looks kind of like charcoal looking, like a grayish metal, like industrial sheets with metal bolted together to make this vehicle, like if it was constructed. Okay, sheet metal, thick sheet metal with thick sheet metal with, and they were bolted, big bolts everywhere. Okay, and he says, take a look, it's perfect for you, it's ready to go. And I noticed there isn't any doors, so it kind of reminded me of a Jeep. Okay, and so I saw a big glass window in front, and I just saw a bunch of nuts and bolts with metal slabs bolted together. It looked very industrial. My mom looked at it to the side, and she says it looks like something's missing, since there was a compartment and it looked to be empty on the front right side. All the while, I'm just gasping. And I'm just like, this new car, not what I have expected. Extremely, okay? And, okay, in the dream, it's Joseph Z, right? So he says, nothing's missing to my mother. And it was actually a trunk compartment, and the trunk was in the front instead of the back. And the door was actually opened, and so it looked like maybe the door was missing, but really there was nothing missing. It was just opened. And these doors didn't have hinges. They were like, you could slide them in and out like a sliding door, but it was a sliding compartment door. At this point, I noticed it does have doors, and they slide open and close. There was no hinge. I turned the corner, looking at the right side, inside the vehicle now, because remember the doors were not there, but they're inside of the wall of the entire vehicle, sliding doors, and so it was open, right? So this entire time I'm holding my breath. I'm holding my breath with intimidation of this entire display of a vehicle that kind of looks like quite a bit of something that I felt really not prepared to handle. Okay, because when I looked through, I saw like a panel of the entire panel had a bunch of knobs and switches, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is my vehicle. How am I gonna, what button does what knob and what lever? There's like a bajillion of them in there. Okay, I'm like, am I really going to drive this vehicle? I don't know how to maneuver those buttons and knobs. Okay, so I was getting kind of stressed out in the dream. Okay, so internally I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And someone, and Joseph Z looks at me immediately, and almost like if he internally heard me say it, and he's like, you will learn how to use it. You will drive this vehicle. And he said it with a straight face, but with kindness. And then he walks away. Now I'm shocked and overwhelmed, and I need to learn how to use those knobs and buttons. And I'm starting to figure out that this is more than a regular vehicle. It's not a Jeep. It's now I'm given more to view. It zooms out, and as I look up, I notice that there's blades, like rotor blades on top. And my heart is now pounding. Okay? I'm like, what in the world? I'm going to fly a helicopter? Oh my. Please, I cannot do this. It's way out of my experience and education. I never went to aviation school. I never went to aviation school. My goodness. So then now the helicopter looked like it was armored for war. So it wasn't a regular helicopter. Remember the nuts and bolts and the metal sheets, kind of like placed amongst each other to create. It was like meshed together, okay, but with nuts and bolts, right? And I'm realizing this is a combat chopper. Okay? And I'm like, oh my. Then Joseph Z comes back and says, come on over here. I want to show you something else. So as I'm already extreme shock, okay, something else is happening. We begin to walk out on the airstrip from the garage mechanic shop, now open space outside near the garage. So now the garage is behind us, right? We're walking towards something. And I'm in front of this enormous airplane. And the internal section of the plane is pulled down. So the shaft is down. So you could see inside of the airplane. Okay? Then Joseph Z says, this is yours too. And he's saying it so calmly and confidently, but such a matter of fact. Suddenly, I see family members walking up the plane shaft, holding a baby, and then while the other two boys, our family members, are so excited and running up as well. Joseph Z is giving a tour inside of the airplane as they go up the shaft, and explaining how we maneuver to fly the plane. Okay, this plane is huge, although not big enough to hold many passengers, nor did it have any seats. I saw 2 seats in the pilot section, and the rest was empty metal section, almost like they had bench seats on the sides and like straps to hold passengers, like usually military. You know those movies that you watch and you see people getting ready to parachute out? Okay, so it's like a plane for to hold cargo, so that's empty in the middle section. And so the seats are only going to be a few seats to the left, a few seats to the right. So what's going on is it's a plane that holds cargo. Okay? And what was scaring me is I was hoping that nobody had to parachute out of there. Okay? So so now I was understanding that I was going to be the one to fly this plane. The only one in charge to fly this plane. This plane was yellow. It was a yellow plane and had some blue stripes on it. Okay? The other members of the family, they were excited. Although I was feeling high stress in the dream. I was worried I was going to make a mistake on the buttons and risk their lives in the air. I looked to my left and to my right, looking through the window, glass window of the airplane, internally being in the airplane. I look out and I see the same size airplanes parked on either side, and I see an orange plane with dark green stripes, and I see a yellow plane with red and dark green stripes on my right. When Joseph Z said, "These are yours too," I realized it was all three planes were also mine. Everyone is getting so excited. He walked up the shaft giving a tour, and the family members ran up there. I'm behind a bit. I'm beginning to walk up the shaft. So excuse me, I wasn't walked up. We weren't inside just yet. Prior, I said we were inside looking through the window. We weren't doing that yet. My mom was a few feet back and also began to walk up slowly. I'm internally understanding in the dream that the magnitude of responsibility that I will drive this plane too. And I kept panicking, I kept thinking, I never driven this plane before. Any plane. And I'm the only driver at this time. I think some fear of heights also played in. Okay. Some notes as the dream ends by me slowly walking up the shaft to enter the plane. Okay, some notes and some interpretation. The fear of heights has a lot to do with fear of promotion. I know it sounds funny that someone would feel fearful of promotion, but well, it's a lot of change, right? And some people, part of their promotion would be being put on the spotlight. And if you're not wanting that spotlight on you, okay, you're not wanting that kind of attention, it has to do with elevation and ascending, okay? And that could be nerve-wracking for some people. But it doesn't matter, though, because it's going to happen for you. So you need to work with your anxiety with a therapist and with diaphragmatic breathing, with new wineskins, a new mindset. Okay, that's the journey that we're on right here. All right? It's natural to feel that, but at the end of the day, if you're following your calling and you're following your destiny's call, you need to do this. Obviously, because if the Most High gave it to you, He knows that you can do it. Okay, upon pondering what else I noticed when I was reflecting upon the dream, I noticed it was not a luxury plane. It looked more like a warplane or an empty. It looked like it was empty at the for upon recalling the dream, it was empty in the center. Okay, but it was like large enough to carry something quite large, maybe a school bus or two inside the plane. And so what else here? I said, when I went into the secret place and asked the Most High, what does this mean? Ruach HaKodesh says, Sapa, which means to be a watchman in Hebrew. It means to be a prophetic voice. It means to alert the people. Okay? It means to be a gatekeeper. It means to be a seer. Okay, so now some additional interpretation of this dream. Seeing a combat helicopter could symbolize a spiritual attack or an upcoming battle, such as severe witchcraft attacks or evil plans against you. I had this dream 2.5 years ago, but it didn't really all make sense up until recently, and more so today. We're now a bit further down, so closer to 3 years, okay, of this prophetic dream. Because I'm recording this video in September 2025, and I received this in December 2023. All right, so excuse me, like 2 years ago. Okay, so seeing a combat helicopter might represent monitoring spirits or a sense of delay and difficulty in your life and destiny. Okay, now in a positive sense, which this is more so a positive dream, it means divine power and authority. Some interpretations suggest that a helicopter symbolizes authority. This could be Yahuwah himself, indicating a spiritual calling to rescue or deliver people. So the calling and the ministry confirmation is a call to deliver, rescue, and win souls. Okay? But specifically to the broken-hearted, specifically to those who are physically broken. Like the broken heart is now hurting the body. Okay, there's some manifestations of that internal pain, and it's manifesting in the spleen, is manifesting in the calves and in the ribs. Okay, and so there's something that ties together. Now, upon researching furthermore the biblical symbolism of a helicopter, it means a strict official assignment. The fact that this type of vehicle flies means height, promotion, growth, support, ministry, and fulfillment. Succeed in your mission, achieve results, fit power, career, working hard to fly higher. It also means warfare, battle, verge of breakthrough. It also means travel out of the country. It also means new hope, new beginning, new goal with clear path. War purpose to carry out resources. So in other words, the ministry will provide resources for those to be delivered and rescued from their circumstances. Okay? It prepares those for battles. It means, because it's a combat, it means you need to put on the armor of the Most High, taking charge of your destiny and lift it from the dust. Need grace and freedom to make that project fulfillment in life. That your spirit, man, is yearning to grow. Doors will open for you. Given the ministry to aid the wounded and mend the broken soul. Which I find fascinating, because the prophetic words that have been given lately have been of the Ordained Spouse series. And this is an outreach to those who have been with the counterfeits, or those who have been single, widowed, and been, alone. This has been an outreach to those who have been orphaned and have become Queen Esthers. Okay, so they've dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of abandonment and neglect. This is the ones that are mothers of the nations. This channel has been expressing healing and methods on how to heal and how to obtain their promise in regards to waiting for the prodigal's children to return. And so it does make sense. It also represents that you would start small. So if you have a ministry in this hour and you notice that it's a slow, steady following, and it's just not anything wrong with that, okay? Because what he's saying is, it's showing you that the helicopter can only hold a few people in the helicopter, right? Okay, so the dream began with showing you that your ministry is going to be something such as that, okay? But the dream continued with showing you the other combat airplanes that hold cargo, right? So it's going to reach new heights. It's going to expand. Okay? So it also represents leadership and authority, using grace to not lead people astray, taking a risk that will affect many people, or taking a risk that will affect your inner circle. Don't be afraid. So a helicopter in dreams signify height, promotion, support, growth, ministry, and fulfillment. I received this interpretation through Joshua TV Ministries, and he's on YouTube, Joshua Oroki, referencing Psalms 113, 7 through 8, and Deuteronomy 3, 22. Now, the biblical significance of an airplane in your dream means promotion, progress, increase, power, opportunity, focus, and attention, desire to travel out of the country. Divine guidance and transition. An airplane can represent a journey or path that Yahuwah is taking you on, preparing you for a new season of life. New heights and success. Dreaming of being in an airplane can symbolize achieving great goals, prosperity, and big opportunities that Yahuwah about to bring into your life. Spiritual elevation and freedom. An airplane can symbolize the need to elevate your spiritual outlook, overcome obstacles, and achieve freedom from earthly constraints. So, on a warning sense, just as dreams of flying can symbolize spiritual elevation, they can also carry a negative spiritual connotation of pride, self-exaltation, or an attack by aerial spirits. Conflict and danger. A dream of a fighter plane may represent feelings of conflict or a need to prepare for perceived threats in your life. Warnings and danger. A dream about an airplane can serve as a warning from Yahuwah about potential dangers or a call to be redirected or redirected your path. Okay. The meaning behind a man in a uniform guiding you signifies divine guidance, spiritual authority, and order from a figure of divine or earthly power. It's symbolic of the armor of Yahuwah, describing Ephesians 6:11 through 17. A person equipped with spiritual virtues like righteousness, faith, and the word of Yahuwah to stand against spiritual evil. The garage in the dream represents a place of preparation. A garage is a place for storing, protecting, and repairing vehicles before they are used for travel. In a spiritual sense, this can be interpreted as a place of preparation and equipping for your spiritual journey or ministry. Preparing for ministry. The time you spend in the garage may be a season of learning, prayer, and spiritual formation to prepare for a new purpose or mission. The garage could be seen as a place to get geared up with the armor of Yahuwah before facing the world. Rest and spiritual refueling. Just as a car can be parked in a garage to rest, this can also represent a time for you to relax and refuel spiritually. This may be needed if you have become too focused on things which are more serious, and in turn leaves not a lot of room for less serious matters. Potential challenges and warnings regarding garage can signify potential spiritual obstacles or spiritual stagnation. A negative interpretation could mean you are spiritually stagnant or idle, like a car that is always in the garage and never driven, due to fear rather than stepping out in faith. Okay, so in other words, a garage should not be a place to park and stay indefinitely, but a place to prepare for your journey. So, wrapping this up here, there's something significant, because just recently, quite literally, like today, and we're in September 2025, I have understood that you are living this dream. Okay? Throughout this journey that you've been on, we're jumping into continuation of part 3, okay? This word was given to me on 6/28/25. This one's very significant. Continue listening, because this title, something is being catered just for you. It was orchestrated just for you, just like that combat helicopter with nuts and bolts, okay? And it was placed right in front of you, okay? There's also a new name given, and something else so beautiful. So keep listening. All right, so this is becoming the best version of yourself. So the individual, Joseph Z, in the dream signifies some divine guidance, okay? And that's going to happen to you in your real life. Yahuwah is placing you at the right place at the right time, and you have crossed through the threshold, and you have entered through that door, and you have been doing the work, not realizing that all the while everything was purposeful. You thought that you could... Okay. So that individual that you've been working with, maybe it was your trainer at your job, maybe it was some treatment that you received, that you went through that door, okay? Maybe it was the treatment began training your body to recuperate your strength. Okay? It could have been that you walked through another door. And those are the two examples I can think of at the moment. Okay? So don't think it's because I didn't say that example that it's not for you. Okay? That's why you get in the secret place and you confirm with the Most High if this word is for you. So we continue on. I began to share this dream with the trainer, not realizing, with the therapist, not realizing that the therapist, this is what's so ironic, and I know it's a confirmation of the prophetic word, okay? I share this vision, I share this dream. And the reason why I shared this dream is because the role that that individual had in their career that they had prior to that position that they're currently in, okay, this is what's so ironic. So recall the dream, okay? Recall the dream that it was a combat helicopter. All right? This is when you know you're at the right place at the right time and someone's really truly going to help you. Okay. This individual that was training me, after I shared all the details of the dream, saying I was so nervous, I didn't know what to do, I don't know how to fly an airplane or a helicopter, and then it looked very intimidating because I had a bunch of buttons and knobs and levers, and then it looked like it was for war, so I was really, really, feeling like I'm not prepared for this. Okay. That person shared later on, okay? And I shared that story after they shared it. I've had this dream 2 years ago. I would not have known. Okay? So they share what their career is first. And that person was in the military. So you know how it is. They get assigned any they don't get to choose their assignment. Okay? A lot of the time, somebody chooses it for them. So this person who had the career prior to this current job was driving combat vehicles. Hello. Is this resonating with anything? Of course it is. Okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? Is it what does it look like inside? He's like, have you ever walked in a fire truck? Have you gotten a tour in a fire truck? I have, okay, for this degree, a bachelor's degree I was working on. One of our field trips, I guess, was going and looking inside of a fire truck. He's like, well, anyways, if you look at the panel, there's a bunch of buttons and a bunch of knobs and levers, and he was in charge of cargo, of transporting cargo from one station to the other station or where they needed to go. So it matches, it correlates to the dream. There was airplane that can carry cargo. Okay? Do you remember that? All right. And it was military. Remember the straps? They were like for people that are in the military and they get strapped in, and usually, that's how they are transported because they need space for cargo in the center, so the seats have to be along the side panels of the airplane, right? Okay, well, I'm like, wait a minute. So you know how to use the panel, the entire panel, all the buttons, all the levers, all of the knobs. And he's like, yes. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting job. That's very informative. Like, I just thought that was so unique. I've never heard of it. Okay. I've never heard of that. I don't know. It just never dawned on me. But just today I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm crossing paths with this exact moment in time. This divine connection, this divine alignment brought through a divine connection in your path now. Okay? And you're living the prophetic word now. So this prophetic word given on 6/28/25 is now going to be present news for you. Okay? Because the waiting of all that and getting to this point and being watchful for it has now come, and it has happened already. So stay with me here. So there is something that you're training with the individual in your current life right now that has a lot to do with your ministry, has a lot to do with expansion and promotion. I hope this is tying it all together so you can really be well informed. All right? Okay, so here we go. Scrolling to make sure I got all the notes here. In this apparent time, there was, the reason why I say you're in training is because you walked through that door. There was an opportunity to establish even more training than you had ever before. Okay? And since then, you had joined that program or that training, or you went through that job, or whatever the case may be, okay? And you have walked through the door and you've already started training. And you know what was awesome? Before you started the training, before you did, okay? This individual says, this course is exactly organized and catered to help you with everything that you need. And then they smile really big, like they're so excited about it. Just like the dream, where all of a sudden it's floating in air and it gets planted right in front of me. The mechanical device that I didn't know what it was, and then when it zoomed out, it was a helicopter, combat helicopter, recall? All right. So it's going to be planted right in front of you, quite literally. And they're going to invite you, and they're going to desire for you to join that program, that training, go through that door, start that new position, etc., because the door is going to be open. You know how open it's going to be? They specifically picked you to join that program. Okay? This program is for a selected few. For this particular program, it was only 4 could join at a time. So it's very unique. Okay? So it's very unique, kind of like the size of the helicopter. Only a few, like 4 people fit in the helicopter, right? Okay, something along the lines. All right. And guess what? You're going to be like, well, how can I join this program? Or how can I start that, degree to finish up my education? Or how can I, start those courses? There's no funding. Well, guess what? Suddenly, the Most High is going to plant money. It's literally going to be in your paycheck, or it's going to be literally showing up in your bank account. It's like so divinely connected to your destiny. There's nothing that's going to stop it. There's nothing that's going to halt it. Yahuwah, the Most High, is funding this program for you. It's funding this launch for you because it's so divinely orchestrated and meant to be. And you have favor of the Most High, and you have favor of the trainers or the new bosses or whatever, that they're just going to help you and work with you. That you can even make payments if you need to. That's how wonderful it's going to be. How amazing. Yes, get super excited because that's what's coming, if not already. So what I'm realizing is this epiphany of being the word, the reason why I'm stating it's just so meant to be, it's so prophetic, because on this prophetic word, suddenly on 6/28 to 2025, I put in the sub days. And that means where I fall asleep for 1 or 2 seconds, and that's when the angel whispers something in my ear, or I feel it internally that I wake up. It's just so loud. And I hear the word catered. Excuse me. Is this really tuning in to every point? Yes. Is it really pointing to you that it totally matches your life? Yes. Is it making it so obvious that whatever you're training in this hour has to do with your destiny? Yes. Yes and yes. When I researched catered, the plans for you, because that's what he stated, but then the angel said catered, it means they customized or tailored the plan specifically to meet your needs or preferences. It means to provide what is wanted or needed. It means implies adjusting existing plans to fit specific requirements. Therefore, the plans for me means plans were made suitable considering individual circumstances, desires, or limitations. In essence, this signifies a personalized approach instead of a general plan. Hallelujah! You are favored of the Most High. So, in other words, let's give an example of training for fitness or training for a job. Okay? Let's say you have some limitations. Let's say you wanted to get stronger arms or get stronger abs, because it's actually a fitness program. Let's just say that, okay? And there's other members in that course. There's other members in that class. But they're asking you what you want to focus on, and you already know you want flat abs, or you already know you want these strong legs, right? You already know you want no flabby arms, and you want strong arms. You want to look toned in certain parts of your body. You want certain things in your body. If we're giving the example of fitness, all right. So they're planning their class exactly how you want to change your body, transform your body. And they didn't ask anybody else, even though they did a generalized plan for them. And whenever you are achy, let's say you're achy, because you did that really hard workout, right? And you're really sore. Your thighs are really sore. The back of your thighs are really sore, or whatever, okay? They will ask you, how are you feeling? And they will change up their schedule plan and do a rest day, which means massage day, where you could use a foam roller or even massage, okay, to repair the muscle tears, right? When you're building muscle, you're tearing muscle, right? So they're orchestrating it just for you so that you can replenish your strength and you can get back at it. Get back out there and gain your strength back. So when Yahuwah was saying he's giving you the strength, okay, to fly like eagles, he's giving you the strength of a lion. He's literally strengthening your body as well as your spirit. It's amazing. Quite literally bringing you back to life. Okay? And this could be essential for you. This could be a wake-up call. You're like, yes, I saw that ad, the Pilates ad on Facebook or whatever. I saw that transformation class, and they were able to lose so many pounds and get back in shape. Or I saw that university ad, and I wanted to, be able to join that master's degree class for leadership or whatever, and all of a sudden they orchestrated for you, and now they waived some fees, and now they're working with they added an additional class so that you can make it to class because the other time frame didn't work for you. Do you see what I mean? They catered it for you so you could specifically join. They needed you in there because they can also feel the pull that you're supposed to be there. They can also feel it that you were meant to be in their life in that moment, and they're supposed to help you with something. Yeah, or plant it in their heart and in their soul and in their mind, and said, you need to help that person. Okay? And not only that, but there's a team of them, destiny helpers, to get you to where you need to be. Why? Because you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to be skilled. You're supposed to do the panels of the combat vehicle aircraft. You're supposed to know how. And all of those trainings, you're supposed to awaken to your calling. You're supposed to realize that you are at the right place at the right time training, not just to heal and feel better, but maybe that might be your new career. Maybe that might be that degree that you're going for. That might be your new career. Obviously, you're going to study something, want to do something with it. You're not going to want to waste your money going to school for nothing, right? Maybe walking through that restaurant and they were hiring a chef, and you had the desire to be get your hands-on job, and that was, you were supposed to not just eat there. You were supposed to just not just do job shadowing, but you were supposed to be a chef. You see what I'm saying? So you made friends with those people that were in the kitchen, that were at the front desk, and everything was orchestrated just for you. You're so cute, Mama. Okay, so my baby girl just discovered her tongue, so she's kind of giggling because she's touching her tongue. It's so adorable. All right, so this is wonderful. Do you see how incredibly connected this is? And he had to have someone be in the military, and had to be someone that was trained to drive combat video, so that you could have this. I could have this dream, so that I could put it all together, so that I could connect the dots, so that I could deliver this message for such a time as this for you. And at this moment in time, it's for me as well. Okay? So, you're supposed to heal to help others heal. You can't be broken and then heal someone else. You can't be educated in a certain area and you still need that area. You need to be a master of that area in order to help other people in that area of expertise of the destiny ministry, if that makes any sense. So, hallelujah. This is so exciting. While praying, continuing to pray, I hear somo somo, which means this is just so divine. This is just so prophetically connected and so confirming. This is what it means. You have entered the assignment without even knowing it. You're training, but you're training for your future as well. Okay? It means, just let me explain it. Okay? Somo somo, and he said that 3 times, and it means a little bit, a little, a few. Okay? But it also means to train or training. Okay? It also is a derivative of soma, which means body, quite literally. So I gave the example of going to a class to do some healing for the body, right? And then you're training your body in order to You're training your body in better posture, okay? And standing with, feet planted on the ground, right? So you're training your ankles, right? Healing your ankles. By the way to heal your ankles is, I'll hold off on that note because it wants me to hold off. It means resurrection power is occurring to you in this very moment. In Swahili, somo means training or schooling. So he's saying in this hour, you're doing some kind of schooling or training that has a lot to do with your future. Then he says osi, and that means strength or power. Didn't I just say earlier that Yahuwah is giving you resurrection power? He's bringing you back to life. He is physically, for the example of strength training, okay? He is literally putting muscles in your body to feel stronger, okay? And that has a lot to do with being supernaturally strong. When you are feeling strong physically and you're working on your spiritual health, okay? You're going to be all around full body and soul. Powerhouse. Alrighty? Then he says saka, which means to bow down. Why? Because he wants to anoint you. Because something is coming and it's specifically orchestrated just for you. Just like that helicopter, where it was slab upon slab of metal, like if it was not one huge slab of metal, it was several, like if it was built or it was made in the heavens. It was made just for you. Then he says sasa, okay, which means joy or gladness. And this is when I understand what he just said. First he says to bow down, saka. Then he says sasa, which means he is anointing you with a new name. Your new name is joy and gladness. Your new name is Sashi, or a derivative or nickname of that name is Sarah or Shoshana, which means Sasi, which means he's anointing you with joy and gladness, which is to come. No more sorrow. You are truly healing from this condition. And to me, it's very important. Okay? To me, I took extra measures to heal full body wholeness. To me, I took it seriously because I had that condition. You recall the condition, the other videos I've mentioned of fibromyalgia. I deal with that. Okay? And it's nerve pain, and it's a lot of pain in the muscles and joints. All right? So I had to do this I had to go to therapies in order to heal my body. But upon healing my body, I'm learning these techniques and skills. The right stance, the formation of the body, the education behind it, what's going on with a new meal plan, nutrition change, okay? I had to change my diet in order to feel better, because sugar, if you're going to have to eat sugar, eat organic sugar. But if sugar causes a lot of inflammation in the body, and I wasn't a person to eat a bunch of sugar, but healing the nervous system from the ground up is a lot of work. And you could feel it in your body. You could feel all the aches and pains. You could feel the trauma from childhood trauma resurface. You could, with fibromyalgia. And I'm here to prove the doctor's wrong. I'm here because I have an almighty creator of the heavens that I know can heal me from that condition. So I'm doing the work. I'm taking the steps. I'm walking through the thresholds. And I am determined to be healed from this condition. Okay? I'm determined to not let it overtake me. And I am determined to help other people heal from this as well. It has a lot to do with healing the nervous system. So your new name means Sasi. It means joy. So that means when you get a new name, it has a lot to do with receiving a new mantle. That's why he wanted you to bow down in reverence, so he can anoint you and give you that new mantle. Why? Because that is your new beginning. He's internally putting joy into your bloodstream, into your muscles, into your joints, to heal you. So in order to be healed, you need to have a new name. Wonderful, hallelujah, right? Then he says Ali, which means ascend. Sapa, he says, be watchful, to spy it too, to observe carefully. And then he says Mandi, which means mighty or graceful tower. Then I hear Maka, which means to expand pegs. It's a ministry. He's giving clues here. He's giving clues that this is a ministry. Then he says Saka, which means to bow down in reverence again. And he says Sasi, bow down, because I'm anointing you for a ministry that's to come. Aliyah, he says, to ascend, which means to ascend, to journey. Your ministry, if you have a platform, is going to expand. In other words, it also means to be an Israelite. Then the word samak, which means to be, it means he sustains you. Okay, but I could be wrong with that word. It could have been somak, because I did put crowned. So it could be, you're being crowned in this hour. It's somak. Sometimes I type in the word and it does like an autocorrect and it puts whatever word it wants. All right, so you're being crowned in this hour. That's why the series is called New Beginnings, Crowned. Then in the spirit I hear Shapa, which means to act covertly or to do secretly. Relates to covering or hiding something. It means to watch, to look out, or to overlay. It means to covering, but with the sense of plating or overlaying something, often with metal. Meaning to search for, or disguise oneself. So it kind of reminds me, when I say an overlay of metal, it kind of reminds me of the combat helicopter was overlaid with metal sheets and then put together as a puzzle piece with nuts and bolts. So there is a divine protection covering over you that gives a visual of industrial metal that is basically probably bulletproof. Come on, a helicopter needs to be bulletproof. That's combat helicopter. Of course it is. It also gives unctions of hiding something, to do something secretly, to not shout it out to the world every step of the way of what you do. Prepare it in silence, in secret. Okay? Then it says Sapa, to be watchful. Samak, I sustain thee. And then it says Appa, which means father. The Hebraic year 5786 has a lot to do with the Father coming down from and linking heaven to earth with a hook. Because the number 6 means Vav, and it also looks like a hook, and it is a representation of a hook. So all the prophetic words are going to come to pass. And there's just so many confirming segments here. So of course it's going to come to pass. It already is. And the Heavenly Father is the one putting it all together. That's what's the most wonderful thing about it. Then I hear Kansi, which means fruit stocks. And that's strong number 5577. And it gives, or bow. It also means bow. Songs of Solomon 7:8. I said, I will climb the palm tree. I will take hold of its fruit stalks. Oh, may your breasts be like clusters of the vine, and the fragrance of your breath like apples. So let me give the commentary to that. I said, I will go up to the palm tree, which is easy of ascent, having in the bark of the trunk or body of the tree rings like steps, whereby the eastern people climb it with incredible swiftness. So promotion and height of your ministry is going to be incredibly swift. Okay? These steps are made by the lower boughs being lopped off. And then it says, being gradually left upon the trunk of the trees, serve as so many rungs of ladder to climb up the tree. Okay, the prior word was speaking the word hand on hand, which meant almost like climbing a rope. So the palm tree represents something of prosperity and abundance. So quite swiftly you will be climbing quite quickly a life of abundance and prosperity. The palm tree may be meant the church militant who yet gets the victory over all her enemies, of which the palm tree is an emblem of Yahusha's going up to it, is expressive of his right to it and property in it, which he has by his Father's gift, his own purchase, and the power of his grace, and may go up to it when he pleases. Also of his presence with his church, and of the delight he takes in her, viewing her stature, fruit, and flourishing circumstances. I will take hold of the boughs thereof, either to crop them, the tops of them, which of the first year's growth are very tender and sweet, and may be eaten. The top of the palm tree is said to be very sweet, and which may call the cerebrum or brain of it, and is spoken of as a very pleasant and nourishing, or to gather the fruit on them, his own grace in exercise and good works performed under the influence of it, or to prune them, which he does by the ministry of the word, reproving sin and refuting error, by afflictive providence, purging away sin, and by suffering persecution to befall his churches, whereby he clears them of carnal professors, and lops them withered and fruitless branches. Now also thy breast shall be as clusters of the vine, round, full, soft, and succulent like the berries of the vine tree, the grapes that grow in clusters on it of these, and the smell of thy nose like apples. Here it may denote the inward constitution and outward conduct of the church, which was sound and healthful, and she had an inward principle of grace, from whence proceeded a savory conduct, a savory breath, a holy breathing after divine and spiritual things. Or it may intend the things she had a savor of, as divine truths and excellent doctrines, comparable to apples. Comparable to Proverbs 25:11, in Songs of Solomon 2:5, and all spiritual and heavenly things where they have the presence of Yahusha and the quickening influence of his spirit. Okay. Then I hear Lasi, which signifies a derivative of Laish. It also has, have you heard that Scottish word Lassie has a lot to do with someone who is of marriageable age, but in this sense, I was led to Laish, which signifies lion. So the lion, okay, your brave lion, your future ordained spouse, okay, that's coming for you, in a biblical sense, is comparing you to Songs of Solomon 7:8, but so is Yahusha. So I mean, if someone's saying, I said, I will climb the palm tree, I will take hold of its fruit stalks. Oh, may your breasts be like clusters of vine, and the fragrance of your breath like apples. It's basically romantic speech, okay, of someone that's basically really in love with you. That what you are definitely showing fruits of the Spirit. All right? And being next to you can see where you're going, where you're headed. Being next to you is so pleasant and fragrant. You have a beautiful fragrance to you, spiritually speaking and physically, okay? Why not? And that is what ties in to be a ordained spouse word. And thank you so much for sticking all the way through. I know it was over an hour. But I feel like this was pivotal for breakthrough, for understanding your breakthrough, that something is happening behind the scenes. And now it should be right in front of you. You should be seeing it happen right in front of you. Okay? And I really want you to obtain your divine revelations for your ministry. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Bro, sis, I got you. We're in this together, and we're going to discover your destiny together. Shalom.